This episode of the Inside Running Podcast is brought to you by Pillar Performance, Australia's leading sports micronutrition brand, providing high-strength formulations to support recovery, elevate energy, and relieve joint inflammation for endurance athletes.
Being a skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking. Under
Welcome to episode number 238 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week, giving us some of your attention. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there, so thanks for choosing us for the next hour or so. Big show coming at you. A lot of results from all over Australia and over the world. Got Manchester 10K to talk about, Birmingham Diamond League to talk about, Moose on the Loose, Listen to Question, all those kind of things coming at you in the next 90 minutes or so. Welcome to my co-host up in Canberra, the King of Canberra, Bradley Croker. Welcome to you.
Thanks, Brady. Good to be back.
What's been going up there, Croaks? What's happening?
Not much. I was a single parent for half of last week, which was interesting. I must admit I haven't had to do it a lot, and I have a lot of respect for the single parents out there who work full time and also manage to run a fair amount, because it's hard to fit it in.
I don't know how it's possible.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Like I would have, if I was a single parent all the time,
and
I'd have a meltdown.
Yeah.
Or running wouldn't happen for me. Like maybe you adjust, maybe you get used to it, but yeah, hats off to those people that are in that situation.
Yeah, big shout out to them at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Other co-host down in Anglesea, Julian Spence, the representative, the 214 man at the World Championships back in 2019. Welcome to the show, Julian.
Thanks, mate. Gee, I just start walking out to the to a boxing ring when I start hearing that.
Yeah, if you're a new listener to the show, only been tuning in the last couple of weeks, Julian did represent Australia at the World Championships.
Yeah, he used to run. He hasn't always been a stand-up paddleboarder.
I'm at this stage now where I'm going to start rolling the uniform out, I think, just to remind people. Every Sunday might put another bit of kit on. No, I was just thinking last night was the first night that I had to Bree went to a show in Melbourne, and I had to look after her from the afternoon into the evening. And, a few plans went out the window.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll sit down. I'll do some work Sunday night. I'm like, nope.
Mm-hmm. We should also give a massive shout out to our wives then, I guess, because they allow us to do as much running as we do.
Oh, she's not going to Harry Potter again, I can tell you that much.
I was going to ask, what was the show?
No, not again.
Harry Potter?
Once every 6 months.
Like the musical or something?
I think it's a theatre play, actually, not a musical. It's like I don't know. I'm not big on it. She went with Ali. They're big Harry Potter nerds. And I don't know. It's not for me.
Yes. Yeah, big thank you to the wives of the Inside Run podcast that keep the show live every week. Give us the time to record this. But anyway, let's talk some running. Who's going first? Moose, you can go first this week.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had a sore back this week.
That's right. And you were sick.
I was a bit sick, but I got out Monday. That was the day I hurt my back, I think. So I ran 20 minutes, and then I was going to just increase by 5 minutes this week, but I did have a sore back, so I couldn't get out. So I actually went on. I'm going to say it was Sunday was my I went out on Friday. I went out for 20 minutes again, so I didn't increase. And it felt okay. The back was still pretty tight, pretty sore. So Saturday, didn't run. Sunday, rode with the group in the morning. Just we're in marathon season, fellas. Gold Coast coming up. The group's got their eye on the 42.2. and the workouts are getting meaty. So I was out there on the bike. It was bloody freezing. I actually couldn't feel my fingers for 2 hours straight. That's how bad it was on the bike. And then when I got in the car, put the heater on, I got a heap of pain. Like my fingers started really hurting as the blood rushed back in. It's quite an odd experience. I haven't really had that before, but that's how cold it was. And then in that afternoon, I went for a jog. So I did 30 minutes. So I decided I'll just skip a 5-minute step, which I would have been on track to run, I reckon, 40 minutes if it wasn't for the back. So I got it done. The back was still sort of affecting my gait, just real stiff through the hips, and then the glutes start tightening up. So I didn't feel awesome. So I go again tomorrow, just do 30 minutes again tomorrow.
But the knee, Moose?
Knee's okay. Yeah, knee's okay. Not 100%. But it's not hurting. It's in this weird area where I'm not fully confident in it, but I'm not getting any pain with it either. It just doesn't. I just don't feel confident enough to take off with my running yet. We'll call it awareness. It's not pain, but it just doesn't feel right. I can just feel some certain things like tightnesses and stiffnesses around it, where it's not hurting me at all. But yeah, I am aware of it.
All right. That's and then the process just keep increasing.
Yeah, we'll see now. See how we go. I'm not getting carried away. I've got so much on at the moment that I'm not too fast. So I think I'm going to come to Bendigo, maybe jog. Yeah, I'm going to jog around the course because Geelong need another runner. And
you got a race?
No, not race. Oh. Not the Div 1 team, but I think we need someone to fill in some of the deep teams, like the Div 5 team.
Here we go, yeah.
Well, it's only 8K, and I ran over 6K yesterday.
They reckon it's pretty good 8K too. Like they were talking next percents and stuff, like a lot of gruggle roads and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, well, I won't be. I would just wear my training shoes and just jog with the backer packers. Nah, once the gun goes and you're on the start line, you're going for it, I reckon.
I don't think so. But perhaps I sit in 200th and then kick down the last couple of K, come 150th. Work
for some points.
Yeah, I'm gonna be part of the team though. That's what I'm missing. I want to get back. I want to get a bit of team nature, Well,
that's the spot to get it.
Cross country, it's all we got, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's all we got.
Chuck the singlet, the colours on.
Yeah, it's the Surf Coast. We have the group that we train with. It's great to support them when they're out racing at fun runs, but we do represent Geelong. Ideally, we would one day get a Surf Coast cross-country team going. That would be the ideal, but it's very difficult. We tried that. I think we talked about that on the pod a few years ago, but Ali and I did try that with AV, but you need to have jumping coaches and shit like that to form an athletics club. You can run recreationally, you can enter as a recreational club, but you just won't score points. You won't compete in the series. So it didn't really interest us.
Because isn't there plans to build a new track down your way? Doesn't the Surf Coast, they don't have any tracks?
No, there's a bit of a push for that. Yeah, the Little Athletics crew that, we sponsor them actually, the running company, Geelong. But Ali was one of the ambassador, and she helped kick off the Surf Coast Little Athletics Centre. She was ambassador. I think she sort of had some input, and then now they've got nowhere to really train. So the centre's really big, a lot of people, a lot of kids, but they just train on a footy oval basically. So they do need a track down here. It would be. I mean, it's finding the land.
That's the first step though, for forming an athletics club. If you get a track, that helps big time.
Yeah, it is. But I was hoping that, Run Crew don't have a track. Sydney, New South Wales do it differently. I was hoping that you could enter in a cross country season with a club that isn't that isn't a full-on athletics club with throwing and all that kind of stuff.
I think they'll be open to that over the next couple of years, like especially the winter season. Yeah, and especially with the new CEO now as well. He seems to be like a bit of a mover and pusher.
Maybe I should resubmit the question.
Yeah.
Don't know what would happen to Geelong without the Surf Coast.
Then you lose that then that club struggles.
Oh, that club is 4 clubs put together.
Yeah.
Like Deakin, Ballerine, Guild, and Chilwell. So, look, it's pretty biased at the moment to Deakin and maybe Chilwell. It's not like Ballarat where there's a good even spread through the 4 like local athletic clubs that run for Ballarat. It's pretty like the Geelong Guild team seems to have all the sprinters.
Mate, this is the conversation for the Bat Chat podcast, talking all AV cross-country issues. We'll get you on one week as a guest.
Will you?
Yeah, I'll ask the boss, see if Andy lets you on.
Oh,
that'd be good. Anyway,
come ready. Come ready.
Get prepared. Croaks, what are you been doing?
A bit of running. So I did an hour on the Monday. Just my standard Monday loop, 2 laps of Mulligans. Tuesday morning, went and did the hill session. So 2 sets of 8 40-odd second hills. Jog back in like 60 to 70 seconds, and then take 3 minutes recovery after the 8th before starting another set. It was good. Like, it was a bit tougher than the previous few times just because there was a pretty strong headwind. And I think obviously doing any rep into a headwind is always tougher, but I think it's compounded when you're doing hills because you're working so much harder just to get yourself up a hill, and then you hit a headwind as well. So it was a good session, but it was a bit of a grind. I sort of just got second set, just tried to really just focus on good form. But got it done. And then that afternoon got out to Mulligans for 8.5k, 407s. Another midweek long run so I didn't work on the Wednesday, so I got out at 10 o'clock, which was a nice time to run, like 11 degrees. Did an hour 45, got rolling, felt good, but average 4-minute Ks. I think, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, after I do that hill session, I feel pretty good for the rest of the week. Hour 45, 26, just over 26k. Then was it Thursday was the day that, so I dropped the kids at daycare, went to work, and I literally it would have been 7 minutes from when I finished my last lesson to starting my run. So I started from the school, just ran on a bike path. It's pretty flat, just out and back basically. So 45 minutes, 4-minute Ks again, ran in those on Cloud Monsters. I seriously have not had a bad run in those things. I find it so easy to get rolling in that shoe. So then I just did a single on the Friday because Viv was away. So that afternoon just jumped on the treadmill, did my 6 by 6 minute session, 1 minute rest, 18.5k an hour, which is about 3:15. So very much in that sort of comfortably hard zone. Heart rate was sort of low to mid 160s for those. And then Saturday, a double, so an hour in the morning, just over 30 minutes in the afternoon. And then, met Josh Johnson for a long run on Sunday. We were he gets rolling pretty early in the run. Our third K down a hill was already 4-minute Ks. So he did 90 minutes with me. But I did 2 hours 20 at 3:55, so it was 35.8k. It wasn't an easy run, but it was in that sort of just that comfortably hard, just solid sort of tempo-y sort of pace. But given I'm going to be running a marathon or majority of a marathon in less than 6 weeks, I figure I need to start just doing I'm not doing a lot of marathon specific sessions for Gold Coast, so I thought I need to just do a bit of up tempo running over a long period of time just to get myself sort of a little bit prepared for that. So it was a good week, 157k, which is only 2 double days in that 157. So body's good, fitness is good. I'll probably have a bit of a lighter week this week in terms of, definitely tomorrow's session I plan on taking pretty easy.
That long run,
Yeah.
that was a bit harder than normal.
That was a bit harder than normal, yeah, and a bit longer.
You wear a chest strap?
No.
What shoes do you have on, Croaks, for that kind of a bit more up-tempo than a jog?
1080s.
Oh, yeah.
It looks kind of accurate, your heart rate, or do you not think so?
I think not.
What's the numbers of the heart rate?
I don't know. It's going up every time you hit a hill.
I think it's not accurate because if you
162.
actually click on it, have a look, I'm 157 6 minutes in.
I know, but you were moving.
I'm running 411s.
That's when Josh Johnson...
See that hill that
Got
you're
moving.
going up?
Okay, I'm 166 running down the hill after 2.6k. So it's not accurate.
Red flag stuff, this, I reckon.
Why don't you turn off the wrist one, Croaks?
Well, I can, but yeah, I wasn't wearing a strap.
Because it will affect your, the race predictors. Not that they're right anyway.
Yeah. Well, Moose, if you're gonna take that this is correct, then can you go to like 25 and a half? Like, this is terrible radio, but at 25.5k into the run, I'm down at 138 running 352s down a hill, and after 2 kilometers running down a hill, I'm at 166. So you can't say it's accurate without saying that. Yeah, okay, I'm running 344s down a hill and my heart rate's in the 130s. So it's wrist heart rate.
One of the kilometre 32.
But at the end of the day, I'm planning on running a marathon in 6 weeks. So I need to do something solid and long.
This is good. So you're going to finish it off. Did we talk about this on air last week, or was that off air?
What?
That you're going to run
Discussing
it.
it, threw it up in the air, threw the idea up, I think.
He's going to pace and then kick it home.
I'll pace, and then like if I've got the legs in me based on the training I'm doing, then I'll try and finish it off.
Well, I heard a whisper, don't know how accurate it is, but they got like this dream team pacing team this year, like Olympians and real big dogs. Plus,
well, I only got an email this afternoon about it, but it looks like I am locked in, and it's a pretty decent pace. Like I think it'll be if I go with like the fastest female, it'll be the quickest pace that they've asked for me to go through halfway. So
throw us just a number. Are we talking sub 72?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
what was the record that year that me and you paced? That was like 226, wasn't it? 225.
Yeah, they ran quicker the year after that. Because they broke it, I think, 2 years in a row. The record
Didn't they
went
go
down.
quicker again the year after that?
No, so 2017, 2018 was each year that was quicker, but then 2019, I think she blew up a little bit and ran like 227. Yeah, so I figure it wasn't.
So they talking Africans.
Don't know.
Japanese.
Not sure. Haven't heard anything about who's doing it.
Well, it can't be an Australian if they're going to run under 224.
Don't know. So anyway, I figured I just need to do something longish and hard without.
Why not, Brady?
What?
Because they're at Com Games and World Champs. This is exciting, Brad, that you're going to be potentially racing a marathon. So what are you going to do for Launceston? Because that's 3 weeks before? You might hit that a bit tired.
I haven't, I'm trying to sort of cover all bases at the moment. Like, I'm certainly not going to be doing too many marathon-specific sessions. Like, I might do one where I go out and run, 10 miles, marathon pace, or 2x8K, or 3 or 4x5K. And then I might do one long run where I do 2 hours, and then I might do sort of, 7K at sort of that 320, 325s. But it's certainly not your standard sort of 10-week marathon block. But I feel good at this, 355s is not 320s, but given the hills and, I took one gel in that run at sort of 90 minutes. And I was still relatively full of running, towards the end. I could have definitely kept going, but I thought 2 hours 20 is probably enough given how far I've covered in that 30, in that time. So, I'm haven't really mapped out because it wasn't until this afternoon that I got the email about the pacing job, so I wasn't even sure whether it was all locked in yet. So I'll have to have a think about it over the next few weeks. But I still plan on giving Launceston a crack. But I do feel like the longer stuff is probably my strength, and I'm probably better off focusing on this stuff more so than the sub 3 minute K type races or 3 minute K races, because that's the thing that's getting harder as I'm getting older. Whereas this stuff I'm finding actually not easier, but this is much more manageable for me than running 3 minute Ks or faster.
So hypothetical, What happens if they don't give you the lead female and give you the second pack, and then you want to kick down, but you're already like too far back to run a decent marathon time? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'd still be on I'd probably be like 2:25 pace through halfway. Obviously it's not. I'm not going to break 2:20 or anything off that, but like I never probably don't even plan on breaking 2:20 given the training I've been doing. But I thought, if I was to run 2:22 to 2:24, that's like it's good to just get one on the board again after not having done one for ages.
What's your second fastest marathon behind your 2:17?
It was Canberra 2:24.
Okay. Shit, 7 minutes difference between your fastest and second fastest.
Well, I've only run three competitive marathons ever.
Maybe BY was a bit of a fluke, a bit of an outlier. Nah.
Maybe. I'll still take it. You'd still take it, wouldn't you, Brady?
Bloody oath I would. No.
They certify that?
Yeah, I don't know if they did. You two both seem to run quick there.
A few PBs set there.
Yeah. It's a good week, Croaks.
Just about your week.
My week, I started off on Monday. Because that's the first day of the week, I ran for 75 minutes in the morning at 4:37 pace, so that was 16.2k. I didn't run in the afternoon because I drove over to Shepparton Monday night, and I watched Take 5. You guys listen to Double J, how they get like a different person on every week, and they interview them and they talk about 5 songs that are like being significant in their life. You're familiar with it, Croaks? No, you wouldn't be, but Moose, you would be, wouldn't you?
That's the radio.
Double J. Nah. Triple J is like sister station.
I don't know it. What number is it on the dial?
Oh, I don't know. I just run it on digital. On my
digital radio?
Yeah, like on my app thing. It's just like, when you get in the car and it starts playing on your phone. Syncs up.
Oh, I don't know. But interesting. That I might look at that.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of like... Zan Rose on there. She's the host of the Take 5 segment, who used to be on Triple J.
I remember her.
It's like for boomers who think Triple J is too young music these days.
Oh yeah,
but they still play the classic Triple J songs over on Double J. Anyway,
do they put heavy metal on it?
A bit of everything and stuff. Yeah, Tool would get a bit of a go. Metallica, stuff like that.
No, all the the yelling shit that's out at the moment. Occasionally Triple J play one.
Affliction and stuff like that. No, I don't think any of that would be getting a run on Double J. Benny Walker, singer from our intro and closing music, he gets played on Double J.
Does he? Yeah.
They play his stuff on Double J over there.
So tell me this.
Yeah.
You might be able to answer it because you know Benny. Every time they play his song, does he get a little bit of a payday?
I don't know how it works.
I know on
like Spotify he gets like stuff or like 1 cent or something like that.
For each play?
If that, I don't know what it is. I don't think they get much on Spotify.
I might go play it 100 times tonight.
Just put it on repeat. Yeah.
There's a dollar.
Yeah, definitely not 1 cent, but I don't know what it is. But I don't think they get a lot of money from Spotify. Not sure how it works on commercial radio and stuff like that. So I went over to Shepparton because they were doing a live Take 5. So the Triple J crew were in Shepparton, I think, for a few days. And Briggs, the rapper, he was the Take 5 because he's from Shepparton. And then, it was kind of this little intimate kind of setting. I reckon there was 45, 50 people in the audience. Then they interviewed him for like an hour, and then they'd lead into his 5 songs throughout the night. It was really cool. It was really cool seeing how professionals set up for like a live show like that. Like they would have had 10 crew doing the camera work and the lighting and the audio. Our setup at the Gold Coast will be nothing like that. It'll just be like one microphone coming out of a laptop. But it was really cool to just, like when live music and all that got canned through COVID and you didn't go to like shows. I'm sure Bree was feeling the same when she went to Harry Potter. It's good to be able to do those things again. So that was Monday night. That was good. Tuesday to work out with Archie, we did 7 by a mile, hovering around like 3:10 pace for the miles on, off 90 seconds jog between. I just put in my Strava notes like a real pleasant workout. Like I just love doing workouts at that pace. It's comfortable. There's a lot of like throwing the brakes on because sometimes we get out a bit too hard and like it's one of those workouts where you don't have to chase the pace. It's like it's there and you can turn it up if you want to at any stage. So that was a good workout. A good bit of mileage there, like 13k in total for that one. And even you can tell by our cool downs, like we averaged like 4:13 pace for our 3k cool down, which we kind of never jog at that pace, but we obviously must have still been pretty fresh. 35 minutes in the afternoon, 7 and a bit k. Easy day Wednesday, so I did an hour in the morning at 4:38 and then 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:26s. Medium long run, hour 45 on the Thursday. That was at 4:12 pace. Just dirt roads, bit of bush. It was nice. And then 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:40s. And that brings us to Friday, my second workout of the week. I changed Moose Fartlek a bit, Moose. I took 15 seconds off the 3-minute efforts, made them 2 minutes 45.
Why?
Because I was coming off like that. That Thursday is a pretty big day. Like I think it was 31k. So I just took 15 seconds off.
Don't go messing with what works, mate. That's the recipe.
Archie did the 3 minutes. I just took 15 seconds off the 3 minutes. And
he couldn't keep up with Archie, so he cut 15 seconds.
Mate, you talk about blokes finding shortcuts. That is the biggest shortcut I've ever seen in my life.
I stitched him up in 1-2 because I was having obviously an extra 15 seconds recovery, and then my watch would get to a minute, and I'm like, come on, we've got to go. But I was really actually meant to give him an extra 15 seconds. He was flying. I think all his minutes, he averaged under 240 pace. And he's got this, I think I've spoken about it before, when he leads, say, his minute efforts, I'm like snapping at his heels 10 seconds in, like, this is too slow. He's got to pick up the pace. Like, we're running like 3:05 pace. Like, it's meant to be quicker for the 1 minute on. And then he just, like, 30 seconds is away from you. 45 seconds, you're like sprinting, trying to keep up. 50 seconds, you're like, show's over. He's like 30, 40 metres in front of you. Maybe not that far.
Joys of being young. That stuff comes so much easier.
But he just pours it on. Like, it's like I'm changing biomechanically and my gait trying to like kick to keep up with him, and he's just like, it just doesn't even seem like he's putting in any effort. So he was he was in shape there. So we still did 15 seconds short for the workout in total, but it was still 29 minutes of running. 3:20.
What you're saying is you're just busting your ass to try and keep up with Archie.
I'll let him go. I didn't. Yeah, I was busting my ass for the first 30 seconds trying to keep up with him, and then I was like, nah, because I was running like 250 pace for my ons, which I was pretty happy with. But he was getting away from me. I must say though, if you're not sure what Moose Fartlek is, because I don't think I explained it there, we haven't spoken about it for a while. It's 3 minutes on, 1 minute jog, 1 minute hard, 1 minute jog, times 5, which gets you 30 minutes. Sometimes we don't do the jog at the end, so we stop at 29 minutes.
I'm sure we've been through this before.
Yeah, I know, but we've got a lot of new listeners these days, Moose.
Yeah, you got to find the episode, don't we?
Yeah, we did it for Training Talk, I think, not so long ago.
Have to have.
Got out for 7k in the afternoon, 4:32s after work on a Friday. Actually listened to, I'll just give it a quick plug, the Better With Running podcast, Zach and Newman and Chris Armstrong. That's the Runs PB podcast. And they did a really good segment on the pros and cons of Strava. It was a really mature conversation about how some people say stuff's easy on Strava and it's not really easy. And then it can be a bit misleading for other people trying to copy stuff that they see on Strava. And it was real good chat about what purpose do you use Strava for? Like, what are you trying to get out of that social network? So that was good listening to that while I was jogging. Saturday, got out for 70 minutes, 4:28s, listened to the new Flume album and the new Mallrat album, both in full. The Flume one's better than the Mallrat one, but just pretty close. I
didn't like it that much.
Flume?
Did you listen to Mallrat? No, I didn't. I don't know it.
I'm not saying that it's amazing, but it's better than Mallrats. The Mallrat starts better than Flume's. I listened to Flume's first, and I'm like, okay, that's a solid 7. There's a few good tracks on there, but I feel like he's got this. You've got to sound like a real dinosaur boomer here as well, Moose. But he's got this method where he just creates these beats, obviously because that's his job, and then just has like a female vocalist singing over the top of it. Yeah. And then the next song is another female vocalist, and the next one's another one, and you're just like, they all sound similar, but they're obviously different people.
Whereas, I was thinking the same thing when I was listening. I'm like I wonder how you just tweak the beat a little bit during these songs, and then all of a sudden they're going to get some hate mail for this. But what do you press a few different buttons on your computer to make it sound a bit different?
Well, he's very distinctive. Like, it's not like anything else you've heard before. That's the thing. So when you do, I felt like I was getting a bit lost in it when I was running. Like, it's a bit, mesmerising. Like, it's very unique music. And Mallrats was good, but I just found I like the first half of it, and then I think it dropped off a bit in the second. But I'm obviously I'm a school teacher, no expert on music.
There's a couple of
critiquing.
There's a couple of his old albums that I can run, like they are the perfect running like cadence, rhythm, beat. Like they're always pretty like energetic.
The one where there's just rappers over the beats.
Yeah.
That one.
No, that
was good.
I accidentally bought that vinyl where it's almost like a remix one where there's a lot of rapping on it, and I didn't mean to, and I don't like it as much as just the beats. Yeah.
It was like a B-side, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that got me through 70 minutes. I enjoyed listening to new music. And then on Sunday, got out to the Barmah Forest, not the Pine Forest, two different places. We had a good group out there. Stoke was out there, Archie was out there, Glenn was out there, and we had Jabba and Abby, two newbies. So like that's huge for Barmah to have like 6 people out there. So Jabba and Abby have moved from Melbourne to Violet Town, like about 50 minutes drive from Barmah, near Shep out there.
Violet Town?
Yeah, that's where Killing Heidi are from there.
Are there some murders there or something?
I don't know.
Or Snowtown, maybe that's Snowtown.
Yeah, Violet Town's where Killing Heidi were from back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So it was good to have some new people out there. They jumped in with a loop. I made a new loop, nearly nailed it, but just missed a turn at about 10k in, so we had to double back and go down this single path that didn't even look like a road. Glenn nearly stacked it. It's just so rough out there. It's just puddles everywhere and potholes and slippery. Someone nearly goes over every week. Actually, I'm still the only guy that's fallen over. But, Glenn, he was like horizontal across the road. I thought he was going to go down for sure, but he saved it pretty well. So that was the most entertainment in that run for a while. And that was my week, 169.2. Rounded up to 170, though, because that sounds better. Racing this week, cross-country, 8K. Looking forward to it. Should be good down there.
Top 10, you reckon? Top 10?
Last 3 cross-country races I've been top 10. Charles Park, top 10. 12K last year, top 10. 8K last year, top 10.
What did you come at Bundoora?
What's the best I've ever come at Bundoora?
No. Oh, was it called off last year?
Yeah, it hasn't been on for the last couple of years.
That's the one you want to go high at, isn't it? That's prestigious.
That is it's usually where they pick the state team from, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also Bundoora. Like, I don't know. Again, dinosaur talk. But I always looked at Bundoora and thought, okay, if I'm going to do well at an event, that's the one I want to do well at this winter.
Yeah, well, it's gone to the middle of the season. I did prefer it when it was 12K, not 10K. They shifted it back. And the course changed a bit there as well. But yeah, it's a good race. So that's me. Let's thank some Patreon supporters, eh? Kick us off, Bradley.
All right, I've got Anthony Sebergsen from Norway. Hopefully I pronounced your surname correctly. 31:38, 10K PB, 73 for the half, 2:34 for the marathon. He did 10 times 1K in 3:20 yesterday, and he doesn't mind the old Norwegian AM/PM workout days. Also saw Eminem at Wembley Park back in 2014, so thanks for your support, Anthony, and I'll take your 10K PB there.
Yeah, we're very musical this week, aren't we? A lot of music talk.
Why aren't you doing AM/PM sessions?
Yeah, when are you going to start doing that, Crooks?
I do, don't I? Don't like every time I do a double, both of those runs sessions. That's what you guys would say.
It's like grey area running.
7 sessions a week, this guy.
Nah, I don't think. I think the benefit versus the risk for me is probably just not worth it.
Cherry pick the Ingebrigtsens.
That being said, like you can see how it's possible because when I finish those 6-minute sessions, like I feel great at the end of it, and so I could actually go out and do something hard within 12 hours of doing that. But I just don't. I just think that's where it's going to be risky for me.
Yeah, they love it over there, though, don't they?
Yeah. Like it's something that if I knew about this stuff years and years ago, maybe I would have given it a go. But at almost 42, it's probably it's probably not worth it.
Because didn't he do 6 by 6 minutes in the morning last week, and then 10 by 3 minutes in the afternoon?
Something like that.
Look, I don't think we should be following what Big Chriso is doing.
I couldn't do that. That's a big day. I guess if you're doing it at different paces.
Yeah, and what he told me was that if you're doing the doubles, so I do the 6-minute reps at like closer to sort of 60-minute race pace or like half marathon, whereas he says that those guys do it at an even lower intensity. So it's probably more like, marathon pace.
Yeah.
So, which would feel like that wouldn't even feel that hard at all, really.
Yeah, but it's all that threshold rating, isn't it?
Yeah.
1.6, is that what they say?
I think it's under 2.2, the lactate.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, Moose, who you got?
I have Kate Bramley. So Geelong girl, Kate, she actually went to the same school as Bree, maybe even the same year level as Bree. Western Heights Secondary College. They call it a college, but it is in no way a college. It is just the classic high school. So Kate is an off-road professional triathlete. She's also a performance triathlon coach, and I think she's the director of Triathlon Adventures Geelong. So that is one of the bigger triathlon groups in town. Now, her running PBs, well, she's a triathlete, so I'm not sure whether she has ever had a crack at running, but she's run 17:56 for 5K, 40:14 for 10, and she's done a 9:09 Ironman. She's a 2 times Xterra winner, which is off-road triathlon, Oceania off-road champion, 4-time age group triathlon world champion. So that's quite the resume for Kate.
Quite the bio.
Yeah. So a lot of credentials in there. Obviously enjoys the mountain bike, the open ocean swimming, maybe in the trail running. I guess that's what off-road triathlon is. You must swim. The swim must be in the ocean. I get like the open ocean.
Aren't they always in the open ocean?
They can be in lakes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Shetland's in the lake.
I reckon that it's probably just a rougher swim. But then mountain biking on trails, totally different. And trail running, also very different. Mm. It's a difficult sport. It's a whole new skill set doing that.
Moose, you almost sound like you're a fan of triathletes now.
No, a bit. I remember reading this magazine, this triathlon magazine. They did the Xterra event. They covered it, and they had a trail run at the same event, and it was like the trail. It was right before trail running was a thing. It was held in Bend in Oregon, and Max King won. And I remember going, "Oh, this guy! I wonder if he's any good." Because he's won a trail running world championship. I wonder if he's just a punter. But then I looked him up. I'm like, oh, Max King. I reckon steeplechaser at the time. Very good runner. You remember him?
No.
No, you've got to remember Max King. Oh,
doesn't he play for St Kilda?
You don't remember Max King? Come on.
No.
He was a steeplechaser.
What year? I'm just looking him up now.
Oh, they say he's an ultra marathoner on this, but he was always a steeplechaser. Come on. All right.
Not much saying coming up here, though.
Nah, you got to know Max King. Come on.
Oh, I went to the world champs in 100K.
Yeah, he's run pretty fast in the marathon.
He's my age.
He's run 2:14. What a beast. He's run 63 minutes. Oh, that's not that good. He's run
13:56, 5K.
What? I thought he was so much better than this.
Probably was when you were reading it.
Yeah.
He's run 8:30.
You were 2:30 by when you were reading this stuff.
Holy shit, this is wrong. There's something
Is this
wrong.
when you're in Chico? Is this how you heard about him?
Why did I think he was so good?
31:03 for 10.
Mind you, I'd be happy with a 13:56. 5K.
Yeah, true. I think he held the American record for the 100. Oh, he won the 100K World Champs. I reckon he held this more.
Yeah, it's a record. He's got the area record.
6:27 Doha, Qatar.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So he's 42 now. Oh, gee, I don't know why. Anyway, he was a good trail runner too, by the way.
The things we get onto on this show.
Nice segue, yeah.
Brendan Hall.
Oh, Kate, thank you, Kate.
Thanks, Kate. You're a legend, Kate. I'm going to thank Brendan Hall, maybe from Wollongong, New South Wales. 18:13 at the Sandon Point Park Run. Found that. 35:52 at the Shell Harbour 10K. 1:26 half marathoner. and 3:54 for the marathon. But back in the day, like I think this was like 5 or 6 years ago, I haven't seen an updated marathon from him because he'd smashed that 3:54 off his recent 1:26. So Brendan, massive thank you for your support over there on Patreon, all the legends over there on Patreon that keep this show alive each and every week. We appreciate it so much that you think this show is worth some kind of value for the month, all the content we put out for, weekly shows and Shoe Geeks, which the boys recorded today. So kind of 5, 6, 7 hours worth of content every month. If you want to support us, patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. You'll find some more details. Running news, boys, to kick off the Diamond League. Watch it, Croaks?
I did watch it. I always just fast forward everything other than the distance events. So I watched it. Actually, I need to start turning my phone off because I saw a couple of messages pop up Sunday morning from you.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay. But I still watched them, but I watched them before I went for my long run.
Wouldn't have given much away what I said, though.
No, just more about Stewy.
Didn't give away the Jessica Hull news that she came second. So Laura Muir was the person who finished in front of her, 4:02.8 to 4:03.4. They won. They were kind of 3 or 2 seconds ahead of the Kenyan Winnie Chebet, who was in third place. They kind of both went with a pacemaker, who was an Australian girl. Anyone remember her name?
Sanford? Ellie Sanford. She did a really good job.
Yeah, nice pace. And then the others just didn't go with it, whereas Jess and Laura did. Jess kind of got the perfect sit on her. I was watching it thinking, this is a great lead-in, but Muir just kind of got away in the home straight there. Jess couldn't quite get past her. But another podium at a Diamond League for Jessica Hull. All class. How's the statement? You agree with this? Is she the best track runner we've got, distance runner in Australian at the moment?
Well, what's at the moment, man?
Her share price the highest if you're buying shares in athletes? I mean, this weekend, the last 2 weekends.
I think Ollie, Ollie's going to give her a run for her money, I think. Because Ollie's there or thereabouts at winning these as well.
Yep.
And there's a few top girls still to come in to the fold. So I wouldn't say that, Jess is running really well and she's finishing on the podium, but the women's field's probably not quite as strong as it will be in a month or two's time.
Yep. And they say that the Australians have the advantage coming off our summer. People are racing themselves fit. She's been running a good 15s for a while now. Georgia Griffith withdrew from the race due to illness, according to the Athletics Australia media release. And then, as you said, Croaks, Oliver Hoare in the men's 1500. He finished in third place behind Abel Kipsang, who we spoke about last week, the Kenyan who won at Doha Diamond League, and Mohammed Katia. Times were, they're a bit all over the place.
He ran 335.76, yeah.
Yep.
Finished third.
Yeah, Matt Ramsden was in, and he was with him too, wasn't he? They just couldn't catch Kipsang in the home straight there. He's very
consistent, Ollie. I can't really remember the last time he had an absolute shocker. So he's always there. When the whips are cracking down in the last 150. Yeah.
Ramsden was in the same race, 11th in at 339.6, and Stewy again 14th place, 344.1. And this week the AA article didn't talk about the glute strain, but talked about as he continues to battle the long-term impacts of COVID. But he was quick out again and got straight on the pacemakers, and similar to last week, just faded, didn't he?
So I have a question for you about Stewy at the moment. Do you think, obviously his last two races are way off where he should be. Do you reckon his training is also way off where it should be, or he's training well but just not racing well?
I think at the moment he's struggling with actual conditions. So he has a glute injury, whether it's a ningle or a strain or a tear or whatever. He's got an injury in his glute, and he also has this condition that's affecting his fitness, whether that's from COVID or whether it's from the vaccine that he had too close to having COVID or whatever it is that's causing the issue. There is an issue there. There is no doubt about it. I mean, it's Stewy McSweyn. He ran 3:44.
Yeah.
There's a physical issue, and I don't think it's it's not bad training. It's not anything like that. It's just his body is not able to perform at the level that he's used to.
But I guess the point I'm making, Moose, is that like his races are poor, but surely his training's probably not going great either. Which, if that's the case, like, aren't you better off just pulling the pin on racing until your training gets back to the level that you know you're going to come out and run 3:35?
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure about his training exactly, but how it's been described to me is that he doesn't have that gear at the end right now. And he doesn't know that he doesn't have it until the moment that he tries to shift gears, and then it's not there for him. Mm-hmm. Now, in training, you don't get to that point. You don't get to the point where you have to shift gears into like Diamond League last lap type stuff. And maybe you don't know that you're in that sort of physical condition until you get to the race. That's sort of what it sounds like. Because if he was in 3:44 shape in training, and that's what training suggested, he wouldn't be doing these races.
Yeah.
It's like, why would he? So he obviously isn't seeing this in training, and he gets to the race and goes, okay, well, today should go better because the training's been fine.
Because it's like, but how many more of these sort of races, like, do you just go, like, because do you think this starts to affect his brand a little bit? Like, like personally, if I was in Stewy's situation, I'd had a couple of really, really bad runs. I'd probably go away until I knew that I was ready to come back and really compete. And that would mean, you say that you can't do it in training, but I would go and do some time trials or something, like do something in training that you go, you know what, I know that I can actually get back to 3:35 in a race.
Do a hard K or something with some pacemakers.
Yeah, because like it's sad to watch, not knowing a guy that was just so competitive last year. Like, the flip side is good on him. He's out there still giving it a crack, and that's good to see. But I think it sort of just affects, not his, I don't know if it affects his brand, but it's just like reputation a little bit. Better off just getting yourself right and then coming back and hitting a 3:35 again. You can't force your way through this type of physical ailment. It's not something that it's like a mental thing where, I'll just tough through it, or it's like a tendon where we can run through this. It's like, no, this isn't something you can just push your way through. Yeah. And I think that, like, this is a personal opinion, but I think he should probably take a break and then get that right before he reloads and has a shorter build-up towards World Champs and Comp Games.
Because the race tactics, sorry to interrupt, were exactly the same. Like, Doha didn't happen. Like, go hard, get to the behind the pacemaker. Like, there was no caution after Doha the week before. It was almost like, let's forget that one, go out and put this one away.
And then he just slowly gets filtered to the back, doesn't he? Like,
people just go around him. Which, that's the sad bit. You're like, fuck, that's our Stewy. Like, we yell at the TV for this guy. He's an absolute Australian legend. Like, you just want the best for him, and you want him smacking up people.
But like, as I said, on the flip side, it is awesome that he's still out there and he's happy to have, like, I'm sure he cares about people beating him who probably shouldn't beat him, but he's still out there giving it a crack, which is commendable. And
as Australians, you sit back and go, okay, we're still cheering for Aussie. We've still got Matthew Ramsden in the lead pack as well. Like, we're pretty lucky to have 3 Australians there.
I think the difference is this isn't going to race him into fitness if this is a heart condition or something like that. Like, this isn't, I'm not sure it's good for him to be doing that because, you can race when you're not fit, but you don't race when you've got a condition like that's obviously really limiting what he can do.
And especially when he's so far off. Like, him running 3:44 and 3:48 in his last two 1500s, like, put it into even our own context. Like, if you're, 15 seconds off your best over 1,500 meters, like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And even yourself, like, if you're 15 seconds off what you should be able to run for 1,500, like, you're probably not going to go out and race anytime soon. You get yourself right until you're back to where you should be.
He's jogging him in, though. He's not working the whole way to the line. Yeah. True. Good to see Ollie Hoare on the podium again.
A leader in sports micronutrition, Pillar Performance is changing the way micros are used in running performance and for endurance athletes globally. Pillar has become the choice of Australian sport thanks to their formulation quality and batch testing program. Currently working with Ben St. Lawrence, Izzy Batt-Doyle and Lucy Bartholomew, along with more than 40 professional sporting teams. Made by athletes for athletes, Pillar leaves no stone unturned when it comes to ingredient quality and potency. Offering some of the strongest formulations on the market, Pillar's range supports optimal recovery, elevates energy production, relieves inflammation, and boosts immunity. When it comes to recovery, their best-selling triple magnesium powder is a must-have for any serious runner, featuring 3 forms of bioavailable magnesium to optimize recovery, improve sleep, and have you backing up after every session. Ramping up your program in the lead up to the Gold Coast Marathon, Pillar's vitamin C and zinc is perfect to help fight off sickness while your training load is high during the colder months. The Pillar team has an exclusive offer for Inside Running listeners. Head to their website and use the code INSIDE20 to receive 20% off at checkout when you purchase 2 products or more. To redeem this offer, or for more information on Pillar's performance and their range of sports micronutrition, head to pillarperformance.shop.
At a Diamond League, Pete Bowl, he was in the 800. His race went the complete opposite than it did the week before. He couldn't close that gap. He finished in 9th position in 1:47.5. I haven't watched this one, Croak, so any comments you've got there would be muchly appreciated.
Very similar to the Doha one in terms of like with 200, 250 to go, you thought, he's a bit out of it. But having watched Doha, watching Birmingham, I didn't think he was out of it, knowing how he closed in Doha, but he just wasn't able to do it. And I think probably the last 10, 15 metres, he'd pretty much just jogged it in at that point.
Yeah, okay. And the women's 5K, there was only one 5K, the women's at this one. Rose Davies and Izzy Batt-Doyle were in there. Rose was 15:28 and Izzy was 15:29 to finish in 10th and 12th spot. So a bit off their PBs.
Rose was on track for a good one. Like she was with the lead pack through probably 3K. So she was on probably like close to 15-minute pace, I reckon, through 3K. So yeah, obviously struggled a bit in that last 2K.
Because they did, the winner ran 14:47, and I think Jess Judd ran a really good, I think she was 14:56 or something like that as well. So there was a few kind of people sub 15. And Callie Thacker, who you spoke about last week, Moose, with the double at Great Ocean Road, and then Sydney, she was a DNF in the race. Not sure what happened there, because we did speak about her feet blowing up or something Instagram last week, but didn't get to the bottom of that. But yeah, DNF for Callie.
Yep. Yep. Next question.
No question, just results. Who's telling me, Croaks, you're going to take us to the USTF Distance Classic. A couple of Australians in action over there.
So I think this was at Mount Sac, actually. So I whipped through some of these results. Jack Bruce was 3rd in the 5,000. He ran 13:39. And Sam McEntee, not a great day for him. He was 13:54. In the men's steeplechase, Matt Clark finished 10th in 8:33.83. And Max Stevens was 8:45.83 to finish in 17th. Women's steeple, Amy Cashin, she won the steeple in 9:31.28, which is just over a second outside the world champs qualifier, while Brielle Urbacher was 5th with 9:46. And probably definitely the run of the night was national champion Abby Caldwell. She won the 1,500 metres in 4:04.18, which, because she's national champion and because 4:04.18 is under the World Championships qualifier, she's now automatic for World Champs and Commonwealth Games if she wants it.
This was run of the week, wasn't it?
Yep.
Excellent. That's awesome news. Because that's a girl, she rocks up to Vic Milers every week, or every event that it's on. She does all the state champs. She's a name that someone can follow on the big stage now from the local level.
She's young as well. I think she's only is she 20? 21.
Yeah,
I'll look up her age.
Been banging on the door anyway this season.
Well, she missed out for Tokyo. She was the 4th one. She had the time but didn't get to go.
Yep, that's right.
So now she's going, and now one of the others isn't going to go.
So what you've got?
Lyndon, Jess Hull, and George Griffiths.
Yeah. Yep.
They all have the time for this one, do they? I don't know.
I don't know if they got the time in this period, but
if they get it,
Abby,
you're not leaving Jess Hull off.
Abby, Jess, and Lyndon. Abby's obviously got it, but Jess and Lyndon also have it because they did it at the Olympics.
And that's right, they broke the Australian record.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Georgia needs to find some time. Yeah, she's 20 years old. Yep. That's some good running there. Moose, tell me about what you're telling me about Jack Rayner.
Yeah, well, I got onto this race and watched it last night. Well, I watched most of it anyway. Manchester Great Run. Is that what it's called? It's not called the Great Manchester Run.
Don't know, just a copy and paste job here, so we'll go with whatever it's called there.
The Manchester 10K. Jack Rayner, he was our man. So he finished second to Jake Robertson from New Zealand, lives in Kenya. It was quite a good race, actually. Jake Robertson left early, left the pack, probably at around, 2K, made a bit of a break, and put some decent time into them. And I thought, there's some quality runners back in that second pack. Well, mainly looking at Jack Rayner, who ran 27:15 just a few months ago. And I thought, Jack will get him like you did. But then it got longer and longer, and all of a sudden it was about 3K to go when Jack broke from his pack and started to chase down Jake, who was slowing. But there was just too much time. I mean, too much real estate between them. Jack couldn't catch him back up. And pretty good run from Jack, but I think that in retrospect he probably gave the second pack too much credit and should have stayed with Jake Robertson when he left earlier on. What about you guys? What do you think? The same?
Well, the guys leading the second pack were Jack's better than them.
That's right.
And I think he was just there for too long. And by the time he made his decision to leave to pull Jake in, he was too far ahead. And even though that Jake Robertson was slowing, he was still, the minute I think he ran a pretty slow K, his 9th K, but then when you know a K to go, you pick it up and you find something. So, but Jack's, he's come off a niggle, I think, in between the Australian record and this. So I think it was a road PB, good return to form. He'll only get better.
Second place too, get some cash.
Bit of cash there, a bit of airtime for the moustache.
They love the moustache, don't they?
They do. Every article always mentions the moustache.
Always the moustache, yeah. Always the moustache.
Yeah, he got some.
It is a good moustache. I mean, he pulls it off. He looks good with it.
What do you think about the new Nike kit?
I like the one he was wearing.
Yeah, he looks good in it, doesn't he? Yeah, with the black shoes and socks as well.
I really liked it. Really liked it. I hated that blue and green one they had. Hated it.
Well, they had it for about 3 years as well, that one.
Yeah, the block colour, it looks great. Good for them.
So that was good there. And the women were pretty quick as well. The UK record. Did you see that?
Yeah. Helena Beery, she won the race. And then Ailish McCoglin, she's a gun, isn't she?
She's 30-17.
I reckon 2 years ago, she was pulling out of races. She'd run a good one, then she'd have 3 bad ones in a row. And you just were like, it's so inconsistent. Now, every race is like a record for her.
Yeah.
Every time she hits the road, she's breaking some European record or Scottish record or whatever. She's a gun.
She beat Paula Radcliffe and she was doing the commentary. That's always good when that happens.
Yeah.
Got to call that in.
Yep.
Some news about Shelby Houlihan, your mate?
Shelby, yeah. I saw some social media stuff. I've stopped following this one, but it looks like Shelby Houlihan loses her appeal of the doping ban. The American record holder will not be eligible to compete until January 2025, and that's not that far away, really. 2.5 years. She's not far off.
It's another Olympics, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true. It's another Olympics.
Don't need to say much more about that.
We've been all through that, yeah.
Over the years.
Let's move on.
I just thought I'd put it in there because we have spoken about it. And then the South Australian 10K champs, Moose. Your last bit of news for the week.
Yep. Run-strong coach, one of the coaches, Jess Stenson, actually won the race. So she was 32.59, sub 33. She won quite easily, actually. Jessica Pascoe, your girl Brad, she was second, 34.12. And Brooke Hines, 35.31 in third position. In the men's,
can we just clarify, why did you say Jessica Pascoe? Because Brad interviewed her. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Like years ago.
We've run through Mulligans a few times.
That's right.
I mean, she could be his daughter. That's the age gap. But I'm not saying. He interviewed her. He introduced Jessica Pascoe to the Australian public.
He was a big
through
fan
our
of her
podcast.
as well, wasn't he? He's like, she's the next big name,
Oh,
Jessica
yeah.
Pascoe. We've got to get her on the show.
Massive fanboy.
Now
Massive
she's picking up silver medals at the South Australian 10K champs. You picked it, Croaks, years ago.
She's still on the up.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, you picked it. Wouldn't have known who she was unless you did that interview. Men's, mate.
To revisit it.
Men's Moose.
The men's, yep. So Adrian Potter was first, 29.07. He looks like he's outkicked Jacob Cox. Cool, Jacob Cox is really coming through. He's cherry picking these courses though, isn't he, Brad? 14 seconds faster than he ran at Sydney 10K.
Yeah.
That
so
must mean
for those playing at home, so maybe Sydney's not that short.
Maybe not. However, Riley Cox, what did he run at Sydney 10?
Riley didn't run Sydney 10.
No, we don't know that. But he was third in 30.04. Apparently closed very quickly as well. But that's big news from Adrian Potter. Back on the winning. Like, it's a really difficult place to get a cross-country win over there. There's no givens there. You got blokes run 29. I'd say it's up there with Victoria now to pull a win. Maybe like 5 to 10 isn't as deep as Victoria, but the top 5 easily is deep.
Yeah.
Agree, disagree?
Yeah, Adelaide, South Australia over the last 5 years or so have done incredibly well compared to like where they were back when, I was running national cross and stuff like that. It was pretty much Victoria, New South Wales, ACT, like they were sort of the top 3. Whereas now, like South Australia are on the podium every year.
Yeah, I agree. Winning one of their winter races is on par with Victoria.
It'd be nice to see it like a big teams nationals. Just South Australia put their best team out, Victoria. Just not the best team as in like, Stewy comes back and runs, but the best team from those that regular rock up at cross country events. I reckon that
Victoria would still smash them.
I
Victoria
think
coming 10th in an AV race is still way harder than any other state.
I agree. I think so too. But you don't need to come 10th. It's the top 6.
Yeah.
And so, like, let's look at who consistently runs these races for SA. You've got Matt Clark, you've got Adrian Potter, you've got Riley Cox, Isaac Hayne,
Matt Stevens,
Jacob Cox,
Daniel Canala.
Jeez, they got a solid 7 or 8, don't they? They only need 6.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a big 6. But
who would New South Wales be, Croaks? Where are you going?
You'd be in that team.
Benny,
Croker,
Tommy,
Kieran Tall. No, Tommy doesn't run that shit. When's the last time he ran a cross country race?
Yeah, true.
Sydney.
You can't include Tommy.
But this is a road champ we're talking about here.
Yeah,
Tommy ran
these guys
the Sydney
also
10
rock up
last
their
year.
cross country though, regular.
Who else?
Ed Goddard. He does a bit
Goddard.
of that stuff. Jeez, it'd be a good race. And then who's would Victoria be, Moose? Andy, Cashin, Thorpe, Andre Waring.
Yeah, the top 3. Andre Waring would be up there. Who else you got? You got Liam Adams. He often does these type of events, like always cross country.
That'd be a 6, I reckon. No, I'm
But even
next tier.
and
I'm the
Queensland
next
now. Queensland has a lot more depth than they used to.
Oh yeah, Liam Bowden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you run as ACT, Brad?
I've run for both ACT and New South Wales in the past.
ACT, Marty Dent, Croker, Joshua Johnson, Philo Saunders. You guys are good as well. Who else? Michael Roger.
Well, Marty Dent's not running anymore.
No, he's still a legend though. Still a legend of the spot. Remember when he came to my house, Marty Dent? Interviewed him at my kitchen table.
Yeah.
Jeez, I was fanboying that day.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so that's good running over there in South Australia. The last bit of news, feels like we've been going forever here with this running news, was the New South Wales Cross Country Croaks, the 10K novice race.
Yes, this is the novice champ. So I know we spoke about this last year, but to classify as a novice, you have to have not won a state or national medal over 3 kilometres. And so they used to have a separate race for everybody that was a novice, and then they'd just put on like an invitational 10K for people who weren't novices anymore. But this year they just combined the races. So in the novice race, that was won by Dylan Offord. He ran 32.11. And Asher Martin won the women's in 38.39, which times for this is pretty irrelevant because, it's cross country. It was wet, muddy. But then in the overall 10K, Benny St. Lawrence won that in 31.48 from Kieran Tall in 32.01, and Matt Cox was third in 32.05. Wasn't a super popular race. Yeah. Like it wasn't, there weren't that many. Was there, Brady, like 50 men in total and 20-something women in both, like across both 10K races. So, yeah, it wasn't a very popular race on the New South Wales calendar, which, it's a bit of a shame. Like when you compare it to Sydney 10, where they would have got 1,000 or whatever. So, I don't mind the idea of the novice cross country. It sort of gave up-and-comers a bit of a chance to, like, win a race. I remember, like, I won the novice race in 2005 or something, and it was sort of cool because, it meant that, your Benny St. Lawrence's, like the national level guys weren't, you weren't really competing against them on the day. So it was sort of good for developing athletes. But when you're only getting like 70 people turn up for a 10K race as one of the races on the calendar, it's not great.
And that's why they run them together now, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. There's not much point when there's 20 in each field or something.
Because it is different winning a race when you're out in front of the race, whereas winning the race coming fifth overall. Yeah,
so Dylan would have finished fourth in that race, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Changed the tactics massively. And we were kind of talking yesterday. So New South Wales is a lot more rec running linked up. They don't have that club culture. Whereas Victoria's got the club culture, and then occasionally some rec runners will come to things like Albert Park 10K, maybe Burnley half marathon, but they don't. Whereas it's interesting to compare the two states.
Yeah, like to see the results from AV where you've got like divisions, like it's unheard of. Like the top clubs in Sydney might have, and we're talking opens here, might have 2 or 3 teams max. That's it. And they all just compete. It's basically like it'd be St George Team A, St George Team B, St George Team C, and they're all basically just fighting for the gold, silver, bronze. But there's just not that culture of the teams event. But then you look at the Sydney 10, and that really catered for the recreational runners because they knew that they could go out there and run a really fast 10K time on a flat course. Whereas the rec runners aren't going to rock up to a cross country race, even though it's 10K. Like it's what's the appeal there?
Yeah. Whereas the appeal's there for the club runs because that's what you've always done the last 20 years.
Yeah.
That's built into it. Hey, Moose, talking about that club depth there, Glenn was telling me yesterday on the long run, he ran like 1955 for Jells Park. Guess what that gave him, the ranking time? 1955. That's a half-decent time at Jells Park, 6K. Cross country.
30th.
80th.
Oh,
I was just like, what, 80th? I'm like, you've counted them wrong. He's like, no, like, think about it. There's 11 Div 1 teams. They've all got 6 runners. That gives you to 66 pretty quick. Then you got Div... He was in that Div...
them all up?
Yeah, he just went through and counted them up.
Holy shit.
Which makes sense. That's depth. Listener question, Bradley.
Do you want to
go with which one do you want to go with?
I was going to go with the top one, given we just spoke earlier about being parents and that sort of stuff. What do you reckon?
Yep.
Do you want that one? You happy with that one?
Yep. Happy with both of them.
All right. Hey, legends, how are you? I've recently had the joy of becoming a father for the first time, and I'm keen to get back to running. I have a base fitness from some cycling I've done over the last few months, but haven't run in quite a while. Seeing as you have all had some experience of this situation of balancing running with early parenthood, what advice would you give around, say, balancing running load with tiredness and fatigue and the duties that come along with being a new parent? Looking forward to listening on some runs coming up. Cheers for the content, boys. And that question comes in from Troy. So thanks, Troy.
I'm going to let you boys go because I haven't All right, I'll go quickly. Be adaptable.
Yeah.
Be adaptable. Run when you can. Get up earlier sometimes. Yes, you'll be tired, but adapt your run because you're tired. Don't get hung up on numbers and try to push the limit. Okay,
That's
my answer.
100% Moose. That's number one for me as well. Like runners, where that like before kids, you sort of like, all right, running's like really high on the priority list, and you want to dot all the I's, cross T's, and get everything done in a training week. And it's just not realistic when you become a parent. And so getting the majority of the stuff done is good enough, as long as so it always still comes back to the consistency. As long as you're being relatively consistent, getting it 7 out of, if you had to rank score your week, like a 7 out of 10 is fine. During this period, and you're gonna have like some months things will be really good when the kid's sleeping and they're not sick and you're not sick, and then other months, it's going to be a 3. But as long as you're somewhat staying consistent, but as you said, being adaptable, that's the number one for me as well.
Turn the pace off on your watch. That stuff becomes irrelevant, especially when you're tired. Like just getting out the door and completing a run is, sometimes the win. That's what you're taking. With our second child, I made sure to plan that there were no races in that kind of first 6-8 weeks because I knew I was going to be tired. Whereas with Hudson, I think I ran my 5K and half and 10K PB in the first 6 weeks he was born. So, I've done it kind of both ways. And, it's different for both children. Appreciate it when you're out there, because I think exercising and running and trying to make it work makes you a better parent. It feels like you're kind of leaving the household to sometimes pursue a selfish endeavour. And leaving your wife at home or whoever's caring for the child. But if that's going to mean that you're better around the house when you're back, I think that's important, and it's a good way to clear your head. And the adaptability, you can get up earlier or you can train later or whatever it is. Make it work if it's important to you. It's very hard because everyone's different situation with work and family support is very different as well. So, And don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be a perfectionist on sticking to a program.
I think lowering your expectations a bit for sessions as well. I really think as a runner, sessions are the icing on the cake. If you're predominantly out there running, that's going to keep a lot of base fitness there. The sessions are just the icing, and don't expect to hit the same sort of splits you were before kids when you're getting 8 hours of sleep. Just dial it back, listen to the body. And bang for buck kind of things that you can potentially do. Don't need to be banging huge workouts. But good luck, Troy. I think your child was only 2 weeks old when we're doing this episode, so it's an amazing time in your life. Training Talk Moose. This week's Training Talk segment is proudly sponsored by Lululemon. Lululemon have designed technical gear with the runner in mind to last more than a season. Head to lululemon.com.au to find out more.
This is a workout that I often give all my athletes, but especially it's what they do coming back from a bit of time off. So it's a reintroduction to faster running, and the session is 3 sets of 5 by 300 meters at around 3K pace. Now, 100 meters walk recovery and 400 meters a slow jog between the sets. So this is 15 300s, so 4.5K total, but broken up with a lot of rest in between. The idea of this is to be, I don't really care if it's 300 meters. I'll often give this to less advanced runners. They'll do 200 meters. I want them running at about 40 to 55 seconds worth of effort. I don't want them going a minute or longer, but I want them up over the sort of 40-second mark as well. So you adjust this based on how long a rep would take you. Most of my athletes do this coming back, and so they're not going to go as fast as what they could be going. This 3K pace for 300 meters isn't that taxing. So if you're only running, for a lot of the time for the athletes that I coach, they'll do this in about 48 to 52 seconds, and it will be it would be hard to hit that sort of pace from a mechanical perspective, but not from an aerobic perspective. So they can handle the pace fine aerobically, but it's the mechanical nature of running quickly again after a break that they struggle with. And so that's why after the repeat, I want them to stop and I want them to walk back to the start. And most of them by the end of the session are enjoying that. And the 100-meter walk recovery, sometimes at the very start of the session, then they might shuffle along and sort of rush back to the start line. But towards the end of the session, then they'll stop. They might go hands on knees for a little bit, and then they might walk slowly to the start line. So the actual recovery in between could be anywhere from 45 seconds to 2 minutes long. Because the idea behind that is the priority is on hitting the pace rather than getting any type of aerobic benefit to the workout. So I want them focusing on speed. I want them focusing on their mechanics. And if the recovery is too short, then that side of things will fall down. So I don't really care how long their recovery is, as long as they can hit the splits that I want them to. Now, this should be done on the track if possible. I really like these being done on the track. I think just the surface and the atmosphere being on the tartan surface is a really, to me, it's an exciting thing. And it's often the first time they're on the track after a long marathon build. So it's more of an environmental sort of lift, a bit of a buzz around that. Or if you have to on an oval, because you can mark out your 100 and 200 splits, because I don't want this all-out sprinting. I don't want it at 800-meter effort or pace. So with 100 and 200 splits, you can have a quick squiz down and see how you are for your pace at multiple points through the rep. I want this done most of the time in flats or spikes. For some people, it might be spikes just for the last set. So the last batch of 5. I think we don't introduce that calf type loading, that low stack shoe early enough in the season. And then when we get to sort of track races later on in the season, we find that the calves can't handle it. Even with the new spikes, it's still important, I think, to put them on earlier in the season and expose yourself to that type of extra loading through the foot and the ankle. If done in a group, which we often love doing this workout in a group, we'll handicap it because the rest is all walking. Everyone starts and finishes at the same spot. So within the group, what we'll do is we'll send off the athletes that might take 55 seconds first, and then a couple of seconds later, a couple of 53-second runners will go off, and then we'll sort of, if there's a 50-second runner in the group, then they'll spot the others 50 seconds, and so they've got something to chase down, and it turns into a little bit more of a game, a bit of fun, and then you can see what happens throughout the workout and how different athletes are pacing themselves and able to outlast the others. So that's the other way we do it too is if someone's not up to running 300s, what we do is we have them run 200s, and the 200 they actually pace the 300 runners, and then they get a little bit extra recovery, and they don't need to walk as much, so they can jog back to the start line, so they can help the group out. And everyone, this is what really fosters group environment, group atmosphere. I used to love doing this session through winter with the cross country, with the Geelong guys for cross country, because you'll get half the team out there and you bond. This is the stuff that you start bonding in. Sunday long runs, hard workouts, you get to warm up, cool down, you take the piss, everyone messes around. But then once you start the workout, it's work time. And yeah, throughout the season, this type of workout, you can continue with it. You can progress the pace as you get more conditioned and you get more of this faster work in. You will find those paces a lot more gentle, so you can start increasing the pace of the workout. And you can also increase the distance. So that 3x5x3 might turn into 400-meter repeats. As you get fitter, you can handle a little bit more stress and duration of the interval. So that's the workout. I reckon you've done this, Brady. I reckon I've given you this one before.
Yep, that's a good one, and I agree with your statement about trying to do it on a track, because it's a pace you're running where you don't want to worry about dogs on leads or cars on the side of the road, or like you want to just concentrate just on that pace. Although it's not all out, it's still a pretty fast pace, and biomechanically you've got to be tuned into running with good form. And you don't often get that when you're on a bike track or on the side of the road and stuff like that.
It also teaches you on the track about what a 200 feels like and what it looks like. So you get to the 200 mark and you're like, all right, I know what this is now. Just like in a race, if you told me you had 200 meters left of a K rep on the road, I don't really know what that feels like. But if you can see the finish point around the corner and you do it so many times, you get this intuitive feel for the track and how much you can give and how long it takes and what that back straight feels like. I think it is part of just practicing being a track runner.
Yeah, and people see this stuff and think, oh, that's not for me because I'm training for the longer distances. Like, this is a big part of like training and working different systems. And I just typed it into my Strava. Then I've probably done, I think you gave me 2x6, so 12 in total, maybe the first time. I've done 2x7 before. Not sure I've done. Yeah. So there's different ways.
It doesn't really matter, to be honest, how many you do.
Yeah.
Maybe I only give 2x5 at the start. I think that's on the high end of it. That's on the high end of how many you would want to do, but it doesn't matter that much. It just matters that you're out there running that pace. But the important thing here is, as distance runners, I see everyone trying to shorten their recoveries all the time. Oh, I'm going to do this, but then I'm going to float the rep instead of jogging or standing, or I'm going to it was too much recovery for me, so I shortened it and I only went off a minute. Like, it's not about that. The purpose of the session isn't that. So why are you feeling like it's like the rest is a soft way out? It doesn't work.
Which is the point I'm making. Like, people think this isn't for them because it's too easy or too short, so they've got to make it harder or longer. You don't. It's a great workout. It's an enjoyable workout as well.
Not that neuromuscular fatigue, for people that haven't done this sort of stuff, like that really creeps up on you, and that's where, if you start to shorten the recoveries, that neuromuscular fatigue really takes hold and your form drops away, and that's when you're likely to get injured. So you do need to take decent recovery, and initially probably just like the 2 sets of 5, as you said, as opposed to 3, because it does catch up on you if you haven't done this stuff ever, or if you haven't done it for a long time.
Yeah.
You'll be sore the next day after this one.
Yep. And you're helping each other if you're doing this in a group, not racing each other.
No, not racing. Like, the handicap stuff it's not a race, even though the idea is just that you finish all at once.
Yep. Good one.
Would you say, Moose, though, this session, like maybe 2 sets of 5, like a lot of experienced runners would do something similar but closer to 1,500 metre pace in season?
Yeah, they probably would.
Yeah.
They probably would. And most of the time, our guys would do this at 1,500 metre pace, even though they're supposed to go at 3K pace.
Yeah.
Because they have a hard time distinguishing between the two. And at that sort of pace, if you're not in tune with it, you just go hard. You're like, oh, it's a 300, I go hard. Even though I don't really want that from you, but it's just difficult to be able to find the difference between 15 and 3K type effort. And
3K, I definitely feel like you can get through that without getting quite as much of that neuromuscular fatigue, because it is definitely a cold, like 3K pace over 300 meters is significantly easier than 1,500, to the point of like how much force you're putting through. There's really not a lot of lactic being accumulated at that sort of pace over that sort of short period of time.
No, but if you're coming off a marathon sort of build and you've gone through a taper and you probably haven't done any sort of speed work for a long time, that's why in an introduction I don't want you going at 1,500 pace.
Oh, I agree. I think this is a great starting point, is 3K pace. But I was just sort of saying that traditionally, like this sort of session, you'd see a lot of people who are experienced and in season doing this at 1,500 metre pace.
Yeah,
but it's not the place. It's not the place to start at.
No, yeah, that's right. You've got to give yourself some room. You need some room to move, don't you? You can't be at your ceiling like early in a program.
Yeah. Like I remember last winter going to the track, and I did something similar actually. I did maybe I was doing like 2 sets of 8 300s, and like I was running them in 46 to 48. And I remember after the first set, and like I was pretty fit aerobically at the time, but my legs were pretty cooked at that pace, and that was like probably closer to 1500 meter pace. So and even though I was fit, like I wasn't 1500 meter race pace fit, so it caught up with me.
Beauty, boys. Well done, Moose. Thanks again to this week's training talk partner, Lululemon. Their new run range is designed with lightweight fabrics, thoughtful features like key-size zipper pockets and mesh panelling to keep you running whatever the weather. Visit lululemon.com.au. Bring it home, Moose on the loose. Purchase of the week, rules of Strava.
Oh, I haven't bought a lot lately, especially not running stuff. Oh, I've seen these new tights we got in store, boys. The Aero Swift half tights. You probably don't have a pair because you won't have bought gear in the last 7 years.
Just come up on our long run yesterday, actually, the new half tights from Nike.
Oh, yeah, they're very good. I mean, if you haven't seen them, they've got pockets in the back. You can take all your gels now on the long run.
4 gels?
Yeah, you can get them in there. And then there's also internal gel pockets.
This is what we're going to need for Valencia Croaks.
What colours you got, Moose?
Got purple for you, mate. Just a beautiful purple.
Go with my On Cloud Monster. They're purple.
Yeah, they might.
You got black ones?
They're coming. No, I might even have a black one now. I can't remember.
Let us know when you got some black ones. I'll buy a pair off you.
No way will Croaks buy a pair off you.
No, I will. No, I will.
He will not buy a pair off you.
I will.
We'll
see. How much they cost these days,
I'm looking right now if I've got them. Let's see.
All right.
You might commit to it. Anyway, they've got them in a pant now. And so the bottom half, like your whole shin, is the Aeroswift type material. And then as it comes up into the crutch area, it goes to almost like the Aeroswift, like split short material.
So you got a best half tight, you mean?
Got a best of, well, the half tight, the tights around the shin.
Full tight, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a pant. So it's not like a full tight around your crutch. It's like a little bit of baggy, like low crutch area.
Could you wear them to work as a PE teacher?
Yeah,
That's how you define things here.
Look, you probably could. A lot of other males probably couldn't.
Well done.
I don't know about that. That might become quite frowned upon by the principal. But I like them. I'm going to get a pair. I haven't bought anything for myself for running in a long time, so I'm going to get a pair.
Have they got double Nike tick on both legs? I'm just Googling it now, and I'm not sure if this is last year's model or this year's model.
Double Nike tick?
Like, is there a tick on both legs?
I don't know. Gee.
Anyway, good one. Yeah, buy yourself a pair of those.
Yeah, I can't wait.
All right. Also, if you want to buy something, buy a ticket for someone, Moose, to our live show. Give it to someone as a guest.
Okay.
Random, act of kindness.
Live show. Who wants the spot? How many spots we got left?
Not many. I reckon we're about 70% capacity, 75% capacity. My mate Kramer's bought a ticket yesterday, actually. He was asking me if tickets were still available. I said, yep, get on there, buy one. He'll be there in the audience.
It'll be fun, won't it? Got our guests lined up?
Yeah, we need to see some start lists. We need to see some of these names that Croaks is talking about potentially pacing. See who's in the race first.
What about this marathon? Yeah, there's a marathoner going quick. I reckon she could be the one.
I wonder if guys like Jack Rayner, Brett Robinson come back, or do they stay over there? It's going to be interesting. Rose Davies, Izzy Batt-Doyle. Do we see them on the roads?
They stay over.
It's a long way to come back for only one potential race, hey?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's coming up. So live tickets to the live show. We do the show live. They're in our link on bio on our socials. Wherever we are active, you'll be able to find that link to buy a ticket to that one. And then the other bit of news of what's coming up, boys, click on that link I just put in the agenda there.
Yeah.
The pre-classic. I'm not sure how long this has been out for, these start lists, because I hadn't seen anything. I reckon it's pretty fresh. This is incredible. So on Friday, they've got Friday, May 27th, this Friday, they've got the world record attempts night. So they've got a women's 2 mile, a women's 5k, where our mate G'day's running Croaks. She's going to go for the world record there. And then a men's 5k where Chebet guy's going to try and break the world record. And they got full deep fields. Like the women's 2 mile has Safan Hassan. It's got Francine Neon Saba. It's got Caster Semenya is back on a start list at the Diamond League. They're probably the three headliners there. Or Beatrice Chebet. That's legit. The women's 5K is legit. Obviously with G'day there. And Worku's good. Yego's good. Gatiri. Winnie Chebet, we just spoke about her earlier in the show. And then the men's 5K, I can't work this out. So the men's 5K world record attempt is on the Friday. Scroll down. And then there's the 5K Diamond League on the Saturday. And this has got Mo Ahmed, Aragawi, Barega, Cholimo, Gebruet, Kipolimo, Brett Robinson, Matthew Ramsden. Why aren't those blokes in the world record race? They don't want to chase it.
Maybe there's cash for the Diamond League one and there's not cash for the world record one.
Is this odd though? This is very strange.
It's odd. It is odd. I don't like it.
Neither do I. Let the big boys go to.
This isn't good. It's not good for the sport. This one.
Race each other.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what is good for the sport, and this meet is the Bowman Mile. Oh my God! Centrowitz, Tim Chariot, Ollie Hoare, Cole Hocker, Philip Ingebrigtsen, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, Abel Kipsang, Stewy McSweyn, Clayton Murphy, Cooper Tier, Tafira. You're not going to find a better field than that. That's a world championship final field there.
Yeah, that is legit.
Hopefully everyone makes it to the start line.
Well, it's this weekend, so hopefully you'd think they'd be pretty locked in, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I wonder if
maybe not
Stewy runs.
Stewy.
Yeah. We've had that convo, haven't we? Women's 1500, Jessica Hull, Faith Kipyegon, Laura Muir again. So that's going to be another race between those two. Gisette Norris is going to be in there. Alperia St. Pierre. She's the American record holder, isn't she? Indoors over 15.
She's good.
There you go.
She's good.
Oh, Stafford as well. Yeah, this is... It's going to be a loaded meet. I think it goes for 2 or 3 days. Women's steeplechasers there as well. I don't think we've got any Aussies in that, do we? Nah, but some big names there. That's something to look forward to over the weekend. You boys doing anything special between now and next week?
We've got a long weekend here next weekend. So
you always have long weekends up there, Canberra.
Yeah, we're going to head down the coast. I haven't seen my parents I don't think I've seen my parents since Christmas. So we're going down there for the weekend.
What's the vibe like around town with a new boss in town? You seen him? Albo?
No, I haven't seen him.
Do you notice anything in the air or anything, Rex?
Didn't you fly in this morning? I was at work.
You'd notice a different vibe though, wouldn't you, this morning when you wake up?
No, not really.
Nothing.
No.
For overseas listeners, we changed prime ministers yesterday.
You disappointed, Brad? Bad, sad night for you? Saturday night?
No. I drove to a couple of polling centres actually on the Saturday, and I just drove straight out when I saw that there was a line, and I sent Viv a message saying I might just cop the $55 fine for not voting. I don't really it just does not interest me.
It's a privilege to be able to vote in a democracy.
I know that's what people say, but I didn't really care too much. I don't feel like my life's changed too much as a result.
There was a big argument when I went to vote at the Moama one. Some people are like, I don't know what the conversation was about. I just got out of the car, went to walk in, and then some ladies just yelling don't vote for them. They're a bunch of pedophiles. And I'm just like, Jesus, what's going on here? And then I'm just head down, just massive argument happening. Anyway.
Hey, your mate Archie not happy? Or did he get up the Nationals?
Nationals held on in Echuca. Archie's in New South Wales. He's not even in that electorate though. He was just a pin-up boy. That. Yeah. So
the Bendigo Bats, are they is that a real? Bendigo, is that a thing?
Bendigo's Labor. Bendigo's been Labor for years. It's a strong Labor seat down there. I'm not sure.
Does Archie just go to town on the bus on the way in, just gets real political about the Nationals policies?
I'm not
just
sure.
Loves the National
Party. I'm not sure what the official line from the Bendigo Vats, if they've got a political alignment or anything like that. You'd have to ask Andy Buchanan. But no, Archie does not get political at any stage.
That's the other thing I struggle with the whole voting system is if you live in like Canberra, for example. Canberra is strong Labor. There's 3 seats in Canberra and they're all Labor. Your vote, in a way, unless everybody changes, your vote doesn't really count, because if you live in one of those really, really strong Labor or Liberal seats, it's not going to change.
Yeah, my one in New South Wales had been Liberal All Nationals for 75 years.
Yeah. So if you feel like your vote doesn't count quite as much,
but they see the
in those
swing,
marginal
though, don't they?
seats. I guess they see the swing, yeah, but yeah.
Anyway,
that's enough politics talk.
Too many bad emails come in post politic chats on this show.
Yeah. Good luck for the weekend, Brady.
Thanks, mate. Looking forward to seeing you down there, Moose. Couple of bats versus a couple of Geelong Goldfish.
Actually, yeah.
I
actually forgot. I'm going away this week.
How's the A team looking for Geelong? Divvy 1 boys. Who you got? Who's your 6? You reckon? Hard to know in an individual race, but who's going to be from?
I've seen the team. It's not the strongest team I've ever seen on paper.
Mende?
Put it that way. Mende's in.
Mende. Gunther?
In.
Oh, 2 big dogs. Hutchie? What's Hutchie doing? Chucking on a singlet?
No, it's Hutchie's birthday apparently, so he won't be running.
Getting on the beard instead.
Doesn't race cross country on his birthday. I'll be there though.
You'll be there.
Maybe sneak in. Do you reckon I'll get on the t-shirt if we win the championship? I sneak in Div 5.
Isn't the rule that you got to score a point for the Div 1 team?
Yeah, that's the rule. But I'm sure I can twist. Once we win Div 1, we've got to win the title first.
Depth's an issue for you boys, Moose. You got a couple of big dogs, and then it drops off after that.
I'm gonna have trouble. We need to field the Div 5. The Div 5 team though, they actually competed quite well. They won their division, so that's good.
Brady, could you imagine if you were talking about the Bendigo Bats Div 5?
Hey,
Div 5 team. What would Moose be saying
they're
about?
They're not going to be Div 5 runners if they're in your Div 1 team though. Your Div 5 team gets hit bad.
I can't do anything more than show you evidence that we have depth. They're 1 from 1. I mean, if they lost, sure, I'd take that argument. But they're winning. They're undefeated.
You'll just jump on that bandwagon. I'll just chill out with the Div 5 boys.
They should be elevated to Div 1 then.
Put them straight up. Put 2 teams in.
Work for Brady.
Well, Tim Crosby might call us during the week and say, hey, early upgrade. That's what we do these days.
I reckon the Mento Mavericks, they should be knocking on the door asking for an upgrade. But anyway, we're talking heaps of shit here, so let's end this show. See you, boys.
All right.
See ya.
This episode of the Inside Running Podcast is brought to you by Pillar Performance, Australia's leading sports micronutrition brand. Head to pillarperformance.shop to learn more about their formulas and how they support recovery, elevate energy, and relieve inflammation.